Yeah, it gets almost convoluted. But you know, the laws, it's like the laws and these policies, and they're designed to screw you. They're designed to screw the other person. You know what I mean? The person that agreed to these terms. The book is this thick. You know, you can't comply to that. You know, there is something in that that says you're wrong. You know what I mean? And yet our Constitution, our rights are this, you know. And the thing is these supersede this. These trump this. This means nothing. This overrides this. And we really just need to cling to that little, we need to understand that little book when we need to forget about that other one. That other one is a lie. You know, it wasn't even ratified in all the states, and the Supreme Court has ruled on that, you know, but we continue to pretend like it's some obligation. You know what, I was thinking that's like the meaning of life. If we follow man's ways, we're doomed to fail. You know, we end up with this, you know, and this is just on one little thing. This is just pertaining to the majority of our life. And these people are trying to justify their theft with this book of codes, which is illegitimate. And there's so many of those, and we're doomed to fail. And people, you know, want to be good, and they think that that's part of being good, you know, following this illegitimacy. And yet when we realize, oh, the truth, you know, and we don't fight, we just stop complying, then we're free. And we realize it was voluntary the whole time. And it's the same with everything, with this whole system. Nobody was pushing us to do it. We were tricked into doing it. We were, you know, brainwashed as children, and we just, but once you realize it, now it's like, okay, well, we'll just stop complying with the system in every way, What would that look like? We have to really consider what that looks like and recreate this world. And it's falling apart. The old world is falling apart now. We're seeing what happens when you don't recreate, you know, or participate in the creation of your world. And it's a natural. What would it look like? First of all, it would look more natural. It would look more organic. You know, this is man's law, one little slice of it. And then there's this, again, our Constitution and our God-given rights. And that's all we need. I mean, if we base it on this, it's a natural system. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. So it might not happen for the masses, but it could happen for just whoever realizes it, the awakened. And now they live by this, you know, and life is actually better because you're not complying with that. So really, like hell, you know, this world can be hell. If we're living by this, we're living in hell. This is hell. It's stressful. But if you live by this, that's how it's supposed to be. My dog, the birds, you know, Jesus said, you know, why, look at the birds, they're doing fine. Why do you, you know, complicate? Surely God will take care of you. I mean, that was his message, you know. And yet, no, we're like, oh no, we need to do this, and we need to worry, you know, we need to worry about this, you know, and that's hell. But we could just let go. We could just cut that cord. And we realize there's nobody chasing us, you know. Nobody even sends out those forms. You just have to go and find them or download them and send them in. I've gone through this hell for the last 7 years, and I feel like it's just, oh my God, it's just kind of, I had to force it to change. It didn't just happen, you know, but I've cut a lot of cords, and it feels good. So after researching the law and everything, you know, just deeply researching rabbit holes in the law, which I love, I started finding that money was created by us. If you get a loan, for example, You go into the bank. Didn't we talk about this once? The bank man says, come sit down. Let's fill out this paperwork. Oh, what would you like? You know, $20,000. Okay, $20,000. He draws up the paperwork and you sign. What the bank doesn't tell you is that you made that money. According to like UCC law title, you know what I mean? It's totally, and I used to research and it blew my head up. I had a mind meltdown almost, you know. I had to take a little break. But you made that money with your signature. You know, it didn't exist before. Otherwise, the bank would just print those things out and have no signature and just be making money. But they can't do that. They don't have the power to make money. They don't add value to anything. It's us that adds the value. It's us that made the money with our signature. And when you realize that the whole system is a hoax now, so you go in, you know, they're just doing their job, but they don't realize the deep, you know, conspiracy of the system. But you created it. You added the value to this loan, this document. Now there's money. Now, instead of just giving it to you, because the system's not set up that way, they pretend that it's their money and they loan it to you. But it was your money. You made it. And that's the big trick. And it's the same with credit cards. With a signature, you create the value. They don't make anything. They add zero value. Zero. In fact, they're hijack. It's theft. It's fraud. And so that's just the backstory. So once I realized that all the system is fraud, you know, the Fed prints money, it's just a big sham, you know, and we're making money and they're loaning it back to us and charging us interest and then repossessing our stuff if we don't. I'm like, this is just criminal. We're in a criminal system. So I said, okay, you know what? Let's play. We could play this, you know. No, I'm done with this. That is just the whole system. This, as far as the banking now, the banking laws. Forget about the other guys we were talking about. I said, forget it. I'm going to play ball now, you know. So I build up my credit. I build. I get it good, apply for loan, max it out. I pay. At first I'm paying. I start this place. I was like, what can I do? You know what? I can play like the sheep and get screwed and live in hell, or I can understand the truth and the law and then just play a different game now, you know, with the knowledge that I have. So I, you know, spend, and what people spend all the time, they spend and then, you know, go into default, and what happens? You go into collections, right? And whatever. And it happens all the time with teenagers, with everybody. It's the biggest problem in America. It's happening left and right. The worst thing that they can do, can't put you in prison for debt. Worst thing they can do is tarnish your credit. Oh, your credit. Oh, not my number, not my fake number. Don't touch my number, you know. Oh, don't threaten my number. Stop calling and threatening my number, you know. So I was like, you know what? F the system. You know what? So around November, this is before Corona, the timing was good. I said, you know what? I'm pulling the plug. Unplugged. Let it go. Letters start coming. Letters, I'm like, yeah, just put them away. And then all of a sudden the letters stop. After 3 months, the letters stopped. And they sell me out. They charge me off. They close my accounts. They have a system. If this falls into whatever, we charge it off. We get our money as a write-off. No big deal. They don't care. And now I'm dealing with the collecting people. And the collecting people are easy. You send them a letter. Because they have no claim. If the bank didn't create the money, these guys created nothing. And you send them a letter and it just disappears. They cannot contest this letter. And what you ask them for is, by law, to collect money, you have to have an original wet signature in ink, a copy of the contract, and you just ask them, I need validation for this claim that you're making against me within 30 days, or I will make a claim against you. And they drop it. Boom, dead. So they don't have it, and they could never have all those wet signatures. It's just, you know what I mean? It's the end of the big hoax. You know what I mean? If it's a hoax at the top, it's like these guys are the biggest hoax, and they know it. And once they see a letter, they're like, oh shit, this person game's up. You know, they know. And so what these guys do is they try to offer me like, oh, pay us half. Oh, just pay us half and we'll just let it go. But they have no claim. You send that letter just to prove their claim and they won't send a letter back. They'll just disappear. So, and then as far as your number, your fictitious number, you do the same thing. You send a letter to the credit bureaus and you say, I need a wet signature of this. You know, I need validation and verification of this. They can't send it either. So they take it off the credit. It's a great thing. The system is wonderful when you understand it. Now, just talking to them creates contract. You know, and admitting that it's you. Even fighting it now. What are you fighting? Well, you're admitting to the claim, because otherwise you wouldn't be fighting anything. You wouldn't be even contesting something. So everything is done in writing. Everything is done, you know, using the right words and citing the law, you know, very legit. And so, yeah, you just play their game. So, yes, in one way, so I was saying that, you know, man's law sucks and we need to not comply. But what if we just played the game differently, you know? Because you know what? Those guys on top, that's what they do. They're not, like, working a hard day's work, you know? And busting their ass, you know what I mean? No, they're just making money, you know? They just make, and they bankrupt, and they this, and they just play the game freely. It's just a big, fun game, you know? And that's the thing, is I think we need to play the game. As long as it's falling apart anyway. You know what I mean? I really think it is a game. You know, I always go back to Quantum of Conscious channel just because he's the only person I know that just video after video, that's all he does. He's just like, this life is not real, and it's like some kind of reality matrix generated, you know. And I see it like that too, but I see it more in a spiritual matrix. You know what I mean? Less, but I don't know. The mind can conceive anything, and it really could just be this little matrix system and everything seems real. But if your eyes are open, then you realize that nothing is random, nothing is a coincidence, you know? I have this part on my road on the way home from here. And it's the most dangerous part of the road. It's like the road is so straight. It's a country road. There's no signs. There's no nothing. There's no... Just country road. But there's this little bend that does this little S, and it's so freaking dangerous. And there's this one particular part that's super dangerous. Nobody on the road the whole way. And when I get to that spot, somebody meets me. Always at that spot. I'm like, what? If this was the lottery, there's nobody. And then I pass that person, and there's nobody that way for 100 miles, it seems like. There's nobody. But every time, and it could be whether I'm leaving my house, whether I'm coming back, and I'm like, and so I get pissed. And at first you just get pissed at, what are you pissed at, you know? And then eventually you realize, oh, this is something. This is a test every time, you know? How do I treat, sometimes it's in the snow. And it's not a coincidence, you know? This is not as concrete as we think. And sometimes I play on that. Sometimes I, you know, imagine the worst case and I'll play on it, you know, like I'll use it to my advantage. Well, if this happens, then I'm just going to go with that. And that's kind of short-circuiting that. Now that you understand that it's not random, now you can actually like use it to your advantage maybe.